tatta dhinta takita dhimta dhinta tam.
Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Padma Menon, and on this channel I share with you practices and the philosophy from ancient goddess traditions from my culture, which is India. One of the favorite goddess practices that I love is the practice of pleasure, passion, sensuality, joy, compassion. It's all in the same domain. And in goddess traditions across the world, there are two important sensations or important practices, and they may be called by different names, but they are of ferocity and of pleasure, and they are two sides of the same coin. I think pleasure is really important in the times that we live in for two reasons. One is that the idea of living from passion, the idea of acting from passion, the idea of manifesting from that source of pleasure, sensuality, desire, passion, it's become something that is extraordinary. Very often we are told that to live out of a passion is a luxury, it's a self-indulgence, or it's not something that you can do, it's something that is something extraordinary to do, something that is special, and that generally you are supposed to be just living to fulfill your functional needs, to service other things, to service the economy, to service the workplaces. So there's all these calls to us which almost asks us to set aside what we're passionate about. In fact, connecting with your passion is such a dangerous thing to do, or it's a really difficult thing to do in the times that we live in. And secondly, for women with whom I practice with a lot and I teach a lot, I see that pleasure becomes even more complicated, because you know that as women, your pleasure, sensuality, desire has always been in service, and it has been so for centuries. It is there for a purpose, and to claim a sense of desire or pleasure for women for themselves has been dangerous for centuries. So this is why I would really like to share with you this very simple practice of pleasure. And I think that this practice will help you reconnect with that sensation of pleasure, which is elemental in your bodies. It's elemental in your sensations. It's elemental in your consciousness. It is not really a response to something. It is not really in service of something, but it is there because it is as elemental as the beauty and the pleasure that you see all around you in nature. And the other lovely thing about this practice is that there are things in this domain which we don't usually, in our words, we don't connect with pleasure. And so that is this sense of languidity. Now, sadly, we've got to use words, and languidity has got negative connotations, especially in the kind of times we live in now, where you've always got to be acting, doing, and producing. And languidity is almost the opposite of that. It's like it's useless. It's this kind of spaciousness and restfulness, which is not about producing and creating outputs. But let the word just get you there. But languidity in physicality is much more about a kind of spaciousness, a sense of expansiveness. And the other beautiful sensation in the domain of pleasure is leela, or game. So it's not, when we think of passion these days, we think about being sometimes very aggressive about it. Sometimes it's about signing up to an ideology and then trying to impose that ideology on other people. But passion here has also got this sense of leela. It's like a game, and you're playing this game, not a childish game, because a game, there's stakes involved. You're here and you're curious, you're adventurous, you're ready and you're alert for what's going to happen. So now you can see that sensuality, game, leela, and languidity, spaciousness how does it all come together in this practice? Well, that's what I'm going to share with you. So please join me. And we start with dropping into our weight in the lower body. This is always the way we start. Those who've been watching these videos by now you will know how we start. So we drop into the weight into our feet. We open the femoral joints. We allow that to flow, soften the knees, hinging in the hips a little bit, so we free our hips. The chin is down, the chest, your heart is lifted and spread, and the arms are just soft. So the first thing we do is we move into this freeing of the hips. I'm breathing. So I'm not leading with my upper body, initiating with the hips. Now this is important because this is how we're going to do the first movement, by initiating from the hip. So here it goes. We initiate this shift of weight from the hip, and then you let the body kind of arrange itself from this initiation. So you have your head is tilted, the hip, your weight is in the hip. It's like you're sinking into that hip. Your chin is down and your eyes are just looking across. I hope you can feel this leela, this cheekiness here. You know, that diagonal glance with the tilted head. And again, we initiate with the hip, move the hip, the weight. Now allow that weight, and then you can settle the rest of your body. And again, the head is tilted, chin is down, diagonally looking. And allow that cheekiness to come in. Can you just let it play around your lips, into your eyes, so that sensation in the body and that languidity is in that transfer, the great waters of the hips. You know, it's like there's big ocean here, and the ocean just laps the waves to that side. And here. So from the hips, and then don't worry, the rest of your body will arrange itself. Be soft in the body. And the next movement goes much more to that sense of languidity and spaciousness. So it's the lying on the great waters. So Vishnu, the very important Indian deity, has this particular core position or iconic position. So what we do is we step onto one leg. So again, take your weight completely there in the hips for a start. The other leg is on the ball of the foot. And now you move this weight up into this hip. And then with your hand, just follow the line of the body and then let the head follow that line. Chin is down, and then open up as if you're just lying on this ocean, and then gently you move the hips. You don't completely drop in here, you're just moving the hip. So it's like you're lying on this ocean that is gently moving under you. And you breathe. Bring that cheekiness in your eyes. You don't lose that. You're alert, you're watching, you're not sleeping. So it's not a sleeping. You're lying. You know, this is like floating and swimming. It's a very active collaboration between you and that water. So you keep that dance going. You're very alert, you're present in the body. So those are the two simple practices that go towards pleasure, practice in this goddess tradition. And I do hope that you will do them, you will practice them, and that it will really help you get in touch with that sense of passion that is restful, that is spacious, but it's still intense. But it has also got that sense of adventure, the sense of compassion, the leela, the game. So it's not about imposing it, it's not about forcing it down, but it's just about tasting it for yourself. And I can tell you that when you taste it, you will really, absolutely in that moment, you will sense it all around you. It's so available around you in nature, in the earth, in the sky, everything you look around you. And it's such an expansive experience rather than an experience of contraction and forcing and division. And that's why I think it's so important that we all connect with this elemental pleasure that is so available and so luxuriously available all around us. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to your company again on this channel.